What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the 606 Whateva podcast, where we touch on events and agendas around the world and feed them to you from a Chicago perspective.
Man, tell them I'm unapologetically black, melanin heaven on earth. So keep your 2 cents, we charging much more. About the rain on them, I can't contain it anymore. Let's go. Let's go.
If you don't know me, I am Big Mel, a.k.a. The Premise. Got the brothers in the building. Vince, what up?
What's going on?
What up, Skills?
Yes, sir.
How y'all feeling, man?
Good.
How was y'all Thanksgiving, man? How was Turkey Day, man? Y'all ain't even stopped by. I told y'all to come by the crib. You said you was house hopping. You ain't even...
Bro, I'm old.
Yeah, I feel you.
Okay, I'm old.
Yeah, it was... I tapped out a little early, too, man.
Yeah.
It was like... It was dry at the crib. Like, I had a couple of my guys come through.
Yeah.
And... I was okay with that.
Right.
It's like 4 people that was supposed to come. They ain't slide. It was about 7-ish. I'm trying to look at football, but the shit started looking at me after a while.
Right.
Did y'all eat good?
Hell
It was okay. Yeah.
Skills, what you do, man?
Hey, man. Well, I went to my sister's house. She had like a whole bunch of shit planned, like a game night, and got her little patio furniture. We went out there by the fire, smoked cigars and shit.
Yes, sir.
It's the whole thing. So, yeah, but it went by real quick, though.
Yeah, man.
Real quick.
Yeah, that all them, as you get older, you get kind of more knowledgeable about what you put in your body.
Right.
It's a lot of carbs going on that day, man.
Yeah, itis.
It's a lot of carbs going on that day, man. From mac and cheese to dressing ain't shit but it's fucking bread.
Thank you. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And a bread.
You got that. You got the
some wet ass bread.
all types of pastas.
Right.
Some good ass wet bread.
I mean, it's delicious.
Good ass wet bread, bro. It's baked too. It's crumbled. First of all, you make the bread whole, then you crumble the shit, and then you put all your other stuff in it.
Yeah,
so.
that shit pretty awesome.
But yeah, everybody is good. Everybody ate good, drank good.
Yeah. Hell
You
yeah.
know, we tapped out early, but that's what we're supposed to do on Thanksgiving.
Exactly.
Man. All right, let's get into some things, man. Aaron Rodgers is back. I ain't gonna do that to you. He back in the building. I'm just saying, he did his thing too. They on a bye week this week, man. The Bears. Who are the Bears?
Arizona.
They got
Cardinals.
the Cardinals.
Yes, they do.
They got the Cardinals. What y'all think about that?
Oh, they gonna lose.
It's gonna be bad.
They gonna lose bad.
It's gonna be bad.
Yeah. Is your boy back this week? Is Fields back? Is he cleared to play?
He's not gonna play.
Nah, he's not. I don't think he's
not
They're gonna sit his ass down and
he's not practicing with the starters. He's just practicing, so he's back on backup mode.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be Andy.
So they're gonna let Andy continue to lead the troops into the mist.
Yeah, they're gonna get their ass kicked.
You feel me?
Yeah,
But
sure.
Not the good mist. That mist. You seen the movie The Mist?
I have.
That's the
yeah.
shit Andy Dalton's gonna lead them into, the mist. God damn it! All type of weird animals coming out at their ass.
It ain't gonna look good for my Bears, man.
I'm gonna just say this: the great thing about last Sunday was you get to watch football, and the Bears are not playing. And
You know, and
that's
that just
so refreshing not to
from a
not to have
fantasy
to watch that.
From a fantasy aspect, that helps me so much.
Yeah, like,
right?
it's just,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? I don't feel like I'm cheating.
Yep.
I don't have to worry about my team doing this and this. I don't have to sneak chill when somebody scoring the Bears that's on my fantasy team.
Exactly.
I could just live. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So we got the Bears coming up, and that's a foregone conclusion, I think. I don't know what they're gonna I don't know what type of move. Here's a question for y'all.
Go for it.
What type of moves do the Bears need to make in this offseason to be successful? Now, when we look at top product on their squad, right? Mm-hmm. Of course, Darnell Mooney I think he's jumped the fence into promoting himself as the number one receiver.
He's becoming number one now.
I personally think that he would be a very good Robin, but I don't think he's the number one guy.
I think he's a good 2.
Yeah, I don't. He would be a perfect 2.
I think he's a good 2.
Because a perfect 2 is somebody that can, on occasions, be the number one guy, right? Have a number one type game, but I don't think he's that guy.
Agreed.
We thought it was going to be Allen Robinson, but Is it his fault that he hasn't shown up, or is it the offense that's not getting him the ball, or what's going on with that, man?
So, all right. So to answer your first question, first thing they got to do, which I don't think as time goes on, I don't know if they're gonna do both of these, but you got to get rid of Matt Nagy. You got to get rid of Ryan Pace. That's like where it starts before anything else.
For sure.
But now to your next question about
the offseason.
Well, the offseason.
That's the first thing in the offseason you got to do.
Get rid of coach and GM.
Right.
That's number one.
You agree with that?
I don't know about the GM. I think the coach got it.
Okay.
I don't think they're going to get rid of the GM.
I don't think they are either.
You like Pace?
I think if you look at overall the last 6 years of who he drafted, I think he can make a compelling argument that he did a good job.
Ooh,
now his job isn't. I mean, I can name a lot of names if you want to be official.
Yeah, please do that.
Well, we could do it. So Tyreek Cohen went to the Pro Bowl. You got Eddie Jackson. You got
Cohen.
What we doing? What we knocking Pro Bowl players? They don't count.
I'm not a fan of Tyreek Cohen.
I'm not.
Why are we not a fan of somebody who played well?
You know what I'm not a fan of is how they played Tyreek Cohen. He's not a premier number one back.
He's not supposed to be,
right? But they played him like that. Like
David, like a number one
David
back.
Montgomery did not start because of Tyreek Cohen was there.
No. It was Jordan Howard. Howard was our starter.
After that, Jordan Howard went to the Eagles, and it was Tyreek Cohen and it was David Montgomery. Tyreek Cohen was our starting running back. David Montgomery was still on the bench.
But I don't think that was primary. This is what I'm saying. And when he was drafted, his role wasn't to be a starting running back. His role was to be like a gadget player, like a Devin Hester kind of player for them. He was he was doing kickoffs, he was doing punt returns, he was in the passing plays. Like he was a trick player. That's what he's good at, with speed and open space. I think they're going to go back to that with him with the last year or two of his contract, if he's healthy enough to play.
Skills.
I think
I'm gonna tell you, I would not count on that.
Roquan Smith is a good one. I give you that one.
I'm gonna tell you, don't count on. I'm gonna tell you.
Don't count on what, Tyreek?
Don't count on seeing Tyreek Cohen playing in a Bears uniform again. We going on the better part of 2 seasons where he has not played. I'm telling you.
He already got his money. They already signed him. So he already got his deal.
I'm telling you. Look.
I mean, I don't know. They might get rid of him. I don't think that's smart because you already paid the man the money. So I mean, get something out of it before you just lose a player.
So as far as Ryan Pace moves, you got LeBlanc Cohen, then you have Roquan Smith, who
I think Roquan Smith is a cornerstone. I think Eddie Jackson is a cornerstone. I think Amos, although he's not with us no more, he was a legit safety that he drafted. We got players that was drafted that are good impact players. Darnell Mooney is an impact player. Like, he's drafted good players. I don't think he's not terrible at drafting players. The GM's job, let me make this clear. The GM job, regardless of how people feel about it, is to get the talent. He's not responsible for how they're coached and played on the field. His job is to go get the talent. He got Allen Robinson for us.
Well,
he got Taylor Gabriel for us. He got us.
Khalil Mack, that's
he made moves that we needed him to make.
I think it's a misconception about like the GM life. Like, so though, first of all, those people you named are not exceptional players.
Khalil Mack's not an exceptional player.
Well, yeah, Khalil Mack.
Roquan Smith is not an exceptional player.
Those two. Everybody else you named
so Eddie Jackson isn't an exceptional player to you anymore because at one point he's a Pro Bowl player.
Was Kevin White an exceptional player?
Kevin White didn't even play.
Was Mitchell Trubisky
Mitchell Trubisky won 12 games and took him to a playoff.
Was he exceptional?
No.
Okay, he went to the Pro Bowl.
He wasn't.
He went to the Pro Bowl.
But if you line up who a person picked, drafted, and got free agent-wise, and you look at what Ryan Pace did, he didn't do a bad job.
He didn't do a great one either. It's just like saying, you know what I'm saying? Like,
God damn.
Yeah, like you don't.
He get the groceries. He didn't got to cook the meal, fam. He got to cook the meal too.
Yeah, but you see me. You got me on my
I don't know how you don't see it, bro.
I don't see what you see.
Impact players.
He's not okay. So to say he didn't do a bad job, does that mean he did a good job?
Well, if it's not bad, it's good to me. So I'm saying in terms of a GM, the players that he's gotten, the trades that he's made, the people that he's drafted, he has a collection of players in both categories that are legitimate playmakers that help the team win.
So he did his job. So we're gonna talk about that. He did his job. He basically bid against himself to get Nick Foles. and gave Nick Foles more money than anybody else was willing to give.
No, we talking about football. Quarterbacks always get more money than they should. This football. What we doing?
And we paying him.
What we doing?
We giving him guaranteed money, and he ain't even starting.
Carson Wentz getting paid right now. Who complaining?
Carson Wentz starting though.
Nick Foles wasn't a starter for us?
And he's actually not doing a bad job in it.
He's not doing a bad job. So when you...
We give Nick Foles...
Go ahead. Speak on it.
We give Nick Foles that money, and then Nick Foles turned out not to be able to do what needs to be done in this system. And so we go and give Andy Dalton... We go and sign Andy Dalton to a contract.
So this is how I look at things. I'm going to tell you right now so you can understand my mindset.
As a starter.
That's okay.
They didn't
That's okay.
know.
They didn't know. They didn't know, but they were still going to make a push for somebody. He was never going to be the ultimate player.
There was nobody else out there.
No, it's not true. They made a big push for Russell Wilson. They didn't finna give up the farm for him.
I don't know if I think that was all
really
media hype. I don't think the Bears made a big push for Russell Wilson.
To the combine, and they offered them people a whole. Look it up to see what they offered for him. Mm-hmm. That was a legit offer. Carson Wentz was one day away from being the quarterback. I'm glad it didn't happen. But it was never, Andy Dalton was never the plan. So this is how I think when it comes to football. I look at decisions made and I look at what your recourse is. What can you do based on how much money you have and the draft picks and all of that. Mm-hmm. I don't go off of just a fan perspective. I go off of that. I shit on anybody when they play bad. I go off of exactly the moves they made. When they got Nick Foles, the goal was to take their young quarterback to the next level and to have a guy groom him in the system who was familiar with the system, and that's Nick Foles. He played at a high level in that offense and won the Super Bowl playing in it. We want to get this guy to help the young kid gravitate to it so he can improve. I think that's a smart thing.
So you don't think they bought him in to eventually take the spot?
No.
Because you see what they did to Mitch Trubisky, right?
Right.
The minute he made one small mistake, what did they do?
Well, it's all about competition. And I think
that's
the
but
thing.
I mean, did that not look like to you that he shouldn't have went out in that game? It was like everybody. So when you was watching the Atlanta Falcon game, and we were
you wasn't calling for him to come out that game.
No, that was his first mistake. He threw a pick.
He didn't play well.
And we were 3-1 at that time.
Yeah, but we was 3-1 despite his play. He didn't play well in those games.
Oh, wow.
He didn't play well in those games. And even when you just watched, if you just go back and, look at the commentary on the games, even when you look at Lance Briggs and them talk after the game.
So you was okay with it?
I was okay with the reason they did it. They didn't have any other option to do. At that point, you couldn't redraft.
Let him finish the game, and then here go the.
But then they won the game when they put Nick Foles in.
I was just gonna say, here go the fool's goal right here because they won the game. But then go ahead and let Nick Foles do what he does instead of just inserting himself. He shitted on himself.
No, he beat Tampa Bay at home. He beat Tom Brady at home too.
So
Nick Foles did that.
So you're trying. This is you said.
I'm just saying.
You said
you want to say that a player ain't good.
You said opening up in your statements that you were not going to look at this as a fan.
I'm not. I'm looking at it
exactly what you're doing if you're defending Nick Foles' gameplay when he started.
I'm defending the person who is well versed in the offense versus your other option. That's important to me in terms of player personnel.
Okay, but
now you like his skill set, but Nick Foles was better at play calling.
What did you think of Nick Foles' performance when he stepped in?
When the Atlanta game? Because that's when he stepped in.
You know what I'm talking about.
That's when he stepped in. Is that what you asked me?
What do you think? Let me go ahead and spell it out.
That's the question how you want me to ask it.
What do you think of Nick Foles' overall performance when he stepped in for the Chicago Bears the season he did? Don't talk about a game or two. What do you think about his overall performance?
About the games that he won.
What do you think about his overall performance?
I think his overall performance was not of the level of a franchise quarterback for your team, but he won games and he played the offense and they didn't have to worry about him not knowing what to do. He knew how to call his line, how to set protections. That's what Mitch wasn't doing right. Mitch was not doing a lot of things right that Nick Foles could do in his sleep. Now, Mitch was a better athlete. He had better talent, but he wasn't better for that offense based on what he showed us. You got to have a backup plan because Mitch turned into Mitch. Then what do you do? And he does. He'll win some games and then he'll just throw an interception that don't make sense to no damn body. He'll look at the DB and throw the ball to him.
Now, you absolutely right on that.
So what do you do when that happens?
Isn't this the guy who was just giving Mitch Trubisky so much props last.
What's the props?
I had to bring props out. That's like a 90s word, bro. I just had.
He won.
Wouldn't you say that he was a Mitchell Trubisky fan the way he was talking last week?
I was a Mitch fan when he was drafted.
I mean,
but now it seems like he's more so of a Nick Foles fan. I just think he's a fan.
No, I am a fan, but I'm also
his
logical
vision
with
gets
that.
clouded a little bit because he loves the Chicago Bears so much, and I don't have an issue with that at all, Skills.
Okay.
Me neither.
Well, since it's the point y'all make, it ain't the point I'm making. Ain't the point I'm making. I'm telling you the point I'm making. I know what y'all look
That Ryan Pace is. Now we got to treat you like an irate. We're not against you.
It's okay.
We're not against you.
You know I don't mind being on the island alone. I think Ryan Pace did a good enough job.
We're here together. We don't want you to be on the island alone. Okay?
I think he did enough to keep his job. I think Nagy's out.
Okay, so that's what we at. So you think you don't think Ryan Pace should be fired?
No.
Okay.
I don't. I don't think based on what he did. Now, based on how people feel, he might be. Because this is a field league. If that's what people are asking for, a lot of pressure on the teams and the ownership. They make decisions based off the outcries of fans.
And the Bears have been to the playoffs.
So if you do that, that's fine.
Two or three of the last 3 years.
I ask the question differently. For a general manager of an NFL team, what do you judge a general manager? Do the wins and losses and playoff appearances come into the criteria?
Talent
along with the talent.
But you can't do that. And see, this is the problem I have with that statement.
Oh, yes,
this is the problem I have with that statement.
Yes, you can.
By the way, guys, we drinking Japanese whiskey here.
The general manager is not the coach of a football team. The general manager job is to go get the talent. The coach's job is to train and put the best product on the field. If I give a coach a lot of assets and options and he doesn't coach them up properly or put them in the right position, that's not the fault of the GM. That's the coach's job. Now, if the GM got to pick the players and be responsible for their performance on the field, then what do you need the coach for? What the coach's job is?
He just
answers questions.
But the coach is a part of the scouting scheme as well.
He hired the coach.
When it comes to
he drafted the players. He hired the coach.
Who really wanted Justin Fields? Was it Pace or was it Nagy?
I think both of them really wanted him, but didn't think they would get him. But I think they both really wanted him. I think for the last 2 or 3 years, all they kept hearing was they passed on two black talented quarterbacks.
Who really wanted Mr. Trubisky? Was it Fox or was it Pace?
No, it was Pace that wanted him.
Oh.
But it also, Pace wasn't the only person that was going to draft Mitchell Trubisky, which is the truth. The 49ers was there. It was other teams that was at his trial that wanted to draft him. John Fox didn't want him.
He wanted Deshaun Watson,
no, he didn't. Look, he say that shit now. John Fox has always been a guy who drafted defensive players.
And he
wasn't going to get a black quarterback either. So just stop it. He wanted somebody on the defense. The GM got a quarterback that he hadn't really heard of before. That was his issue. But no, John Fox was never in the room saying, I want Deshaun Watson. That's not real.
I was just asking. I ain't know. I know for a fact Pace didn't want his ass, for sure. Let's move on. I mean, I'm happy that I'm a Bears fan too.
Well, what Deshaun Watson playing right now, by the way?
Well, it is what it is.
He playing right now?
Well, he probably playing with some masseuses.
Yeah, he playing with some masseuses. Would that have been Ryan Pace's fault parts if he'd have got Deshaun Watson and that happened? Would you have blamed the GM for that?
You can't blame. That's different. That's off the field activity.
Would you have blamed the GM for that?
I'll just say Deshaun Watson cutting checks to masseuses is still better than Mitch Trubisky on the NFL sideline.
How you better than you can't play? How you better than a player that plays if you can't play?
He'll play again.
Look at his accolades, though.
He'll play again.
All right.
We probably would have went deep in the playoffs.
I bet you Houston right now wish they had drafted somebody else for what they going through.
I bet you it ain't Trubisky.
I bet you they wish they got anybody else right now, bro. Because they paying a lot of money for nothing.
Well, yeah,
nothing. They paying over $100 million. They get nothing for it.
His on the field activity was awesome, though. It was legit. Right. It just so happens that he liked to fondle ladies that would
just so happen he liked to fondle ladies. All right.
I'm just saying that's off the field activity. Ain't no control over that.
Pace for drafting Mitch But applaud Houston because this guy just had a little problem with masseuse. He just didn't know what there ain't no big deal. So the GM it ain't his fault that the guy did that.
It's absolutely not.
But it's Pace's job that Matt Nagy couldn't coach a quarterback.
He hired Matt Nagy.
That's on the field shit. That's on the field shit. You know that, bro.
Y'all run departments, man.
That.
Y'all go find some talented goddamn employees.
He hired him.
Fire the source. Don't just fire the person in charge because it make everybody feel better.
Ryan Pace is the source.
Yeah, that's the reason why the Bulls got rid of Gar Forman and John Paxson, and look what's happening with them now.
That's not why. Look at the amount of years.
I'm just saying, regardless of the length of time, so they should learn from the Bulls then. If that's the case, and get rid of that shit before it turns into years.
Yeah, they're finna whack the coach now.
Get rid of him now.
They're gonna whack the coach. But remember I said this, because y'all always I remember we always had these conversations. Y'all don't remember when I'm right. Y'all don't come back when I'm right. Y'all just talk shit.
I definitely have never remembered when you've been right.
I told y'all last day was going to the playoffs last year, and y'all never even acknowledged that y'all was stopping with this foolishness.
Did I disagree with that?
Well, mark me down for this.
Did I disagree with that?
You did. You laughed at me in your goddamn truck when I told you that.
Pull up the clip.
The clip, it was just us in the truck.
Oh, okay. Well, you ain't got no proof.
Matt Nagy will be fired. I don't think Ryan Pace will.
Okay.
Doesn't mean he shouldn't, though.
All right,
so
I don't think it's not gonna happen.
Let's have a shot. Let's slow down on the Bears and what are we drinking? This is some Japanese whiskey. Yeah. Let me get my. This is Tenjaku blended whiskey. Now, in when you speak Japanese or is the J silent like it is in Spanish? Like, it's not John, it's Juan. So do you say to Yaku or is it to Jaku?
I think you said it about the closest. You probably
I think I didn't do bad
to get it right.
Cheers, brothers.
Cheers.
Cheers. To Jaku.
To Jaku.
Moving on, we'll just briefly touch on the Bulls, man.
They doing good.
They actually play tonight. They playing right now, right? Is the game over?
Yeah, they won by 4, 119.
The Knicks?
No, the Bulls did, 119 to 115.
Okay.
Oh, they came back. The Bulls was up by 20.
Damn, DeRozan had 34
early
points.
In the game.
DeRozan is getting his money a little bit, ain't he?
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. So, I mean, the Bulls, now that GM is doing what he's supposed to do. Moving on, let's get up out of the Bulls situation and move on to something a little bit more serious in the game. So, we were, there was an incident at and y'all help me out on this. It was a school that he was a star baseball player. His last name is Humphrey. He was a star baseball player. God, I want to figure out what state this was in, though.
Sound like a southern state.
So what happened was he was a star baseball player. He attempted to join the track team because he wanted to increase his speed. He wanted to get faster. Right. Mm-hmm. The assistant athletic director asked him and questioned him, why do you want to join the track team? Aren't you playing baseball? Aren't you good at baseball? And aren't you fast already? And he replied, yeah, I am. I just want to get faster. Right. So the assistant athletic director told him, well, you probably get your speed from running from the cops. Yeah. So some of this shit, we're not making this shit up.
And to be clear, this happened in New Rochelle, New York.
New Rochelle, New York.
It wasn't in the South.
New Rochelle, New York. It sure was. So what the young man did at that point, and we're going to park here for a minute, man.
Humphrey is his name.
Tony Humphrey, thank you. So what the young man did at that point was he left the school. Yeah. He left the school and transferred somewhere else, right? Okay. And reason being is that he said this isn't the first time this took place. This happened his freshman year with another student, and he advised the staff about it, and they didn't do anything about the shit. And yeah, absolutely. So the assistant athletic director actually resigned without any comments or without any reason as of, I'm sure we know why he resigned, but he just resigned and left. We are in 2021 approaching 2022, for some people still act shocked about these scenarios. I personally think just the way this country has been conditioned, these situations aren't going anywhere.
No.
The only thing that we're obligated to do is get on these airwaves and speak them. So the next time a white person, an Asian person, a Hispanic person, a black person, any race in this country, any culture in this country that act like these things are not going on and they just think we poking at the bear for some reason, it's situations like this that we gonna run and holler at y'all about and let you know that these, as made up now. Keep me honest.
Yeah.
Just listening to that, don't that shit sound made up? Don't it sound like this is just a reach? It sounds like it should be like an after school program or something. Like, I bet you, the line is corny like it was like meant to be written in a racist story. So I bet you get your speed from running from the cops.
Right.
You feel me?
In another universe, it does, but the fact that, like, probably everybody in this room has had a situation like that happen to them. Like, you hear it and you're like, nah, I can believe that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Unfortunately, you're like, nah, I can believe that.
But that's like really, like, I've had plenty of situations where little innuendos have been thrown at me, and some of them were so slick when I was younger. I used to walk off about 10, 20 steps and be like, wait a minute.
Right,
that motherfucker, what'd he just say to me?
Right.
But this, now how blatant is that?
But this is what...
And you're an assistant athletic director. You ain't even the man over there, man.
But they can,
Not
man.
that make a difference, but like you got the audacity to talk to a star athlete like that. And you ain't shit but an assistant athletic director.
He probably looked at it like...
Getting the staff coffee and shit.
He probably looked at it like, I'm going to say this, like, basically like, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Because this is what they do.
Yeah.
And what happens? You resign and you know behind the scenes, this is what they telling him. Hey, man, just go ahead and step down, Dan, or whatever his name is. Go ahead and step down. Give it about 2 or 3 months. Yeah. We'll set you up over here. Yeah. Everything will be all right. It'll be all forgotten about. No worries.
He will work for another college in that position again.
Easily.
That will happen.
So
they feel like they own us, and that's the mentality when it comes to athletic programs. And I've always had this understanding, but with me dealing with my son now, and he's into the athletics now with football, basketball, track. I'm dealing with coaches. I'm in it now.
Yep.
So now I see how much they feel like it's a privilege to play for us because we give you free uniforms and get you on the bus and take you to compete. Like, it's this weird ass mentality.
They bank on that. It
Well, they feel like we're providing these simple things, but your talent alone is getting our schools a shitload of money. But it's even, and it's not even. You're getting way
slave-like,
more
right?
out of
It's definitely slave-like.
these kids are getting. But it's this mentality that we own you. Because to be honest, depending on what kind of a coach it is, whatever they say about this player holds weight throughout the entire college and the league.
For sure.
So if you're in Alabama and you tell the coach say something in Alabama, you say, hey man, don't say that shit to me. You're gonna respect me like a man. You will never play for another top college again, and you will not go to the league. It's about this boys club that they have. The leverage and the power that we're starting to see now, and it happened like 3 years ago, when people start saying, why don't the top recruit athletes go to black colleges? And they start pushing that, and they start asking people to do that. And then retired athletes, when their children was getting ready to commit, they were encouraging their children to start committing to black colleges. They've taken the power back now, where the only way to the league isn't through your colleges. We don't have to go to Alabama or Ohio State to go to the league. if we all decide to go play wherever we want to play, our talent will still speak for itself. Now, a lot of people don't have the balls
but you know
to
what?
really test that.
But just to kind of push back on that,
I don't know if I agree with
it's a lot of this shit where kids want to go that are extremely talented is built on aesthetics.
Right.
And when you look at these Big Ten, these Ohios, these Alabamas, and then you look at a Howard University, or the facilities can't live up or stand up. It ain't nowhere near close to it.
But when you think about that,
but
when you
I'm
say
just saying, but that's the mentality that they instill into our shorties.
You know, you have a better option if you go to a top school. That's common sense with athletes. Like, they know if they go to some of the top schools,
for sure,
they got a better chance of going to the league.
Right.
But this is what I'm saying, because I've thought about this, and I've always thought the way you thought until I saw a lady speak on this last year on a show. And the one thing she asks is, yeah, but when do we start to change? And when she said that, everybody was dumbfounded, because I see the legitimacy in that question. That's the reality right now. If we wanted to change, when do we start to invoke change in that department? Like, if we know our power in terms of black people is in the culture, is in everything. Everybody imitates our culture. If we decide to take control of that, we know what that can lead. And everybody say, yeah, we know, but it's so hard to do. But what if you start? Somebody has to start somewhere. If kids start saying, okay, I'm one athlete. Cause I remember the kid's name, but he was a high recruited basketball player. He committed to an HBCU. And people were like, well, maybe that's the start. Maybe it is. Because if other kids jump on the board and do it, you can take your power back. The endorsement will go to the black colleges because the top athletes are there. When do you start?
Okay, so let's put it in your backyard, right?
Okay.
Let's just say your son is just killing the game in football, right? He gets to his senior year. He's getting all of these. He's getting everything. He's getting some from Nebraska, Iowa State, Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama. Then you see Jackson in there. You see Howard in there. You got all this on the table. Realistically speaking, where do you place your son? Do you place him at the 8?
I'm going to tell you the truth. Because you asked me that, and I'm glad you asked me that, because I can name several other people who wouldn't answer like I'm about to answer it. But I'm going to tell you my answer.
Okay.
Important thing to me is, again, I'm a man of a pattern. I don't know a college graduate from an HBCU who's not winning right now. So everybody that I work with, everybody that I grew up with who went to HBCUs, they're doing great in life. I don't know one that's fucked up, not doing well in life, and regret going to a HBCU. So from an athletic perspective,
that's what I'm talking about.
My son would probably be overwhelmed if Ohio State sent him something.
Absolutely.
If Nebraska sent him something, Alabama sent him Michigan. He's probably, his eyes going to pop out his head. My conversation with him, because of course it'll be his decision. I'm not going to dominate that decision for him.
What decision do you think he'll make?
I believe he's going to take whatever opportunity he feels give him the best chance of going to the NFL. But I will tell him that it doesn't mean you can't go if you go to an HBCU. But I will make that his decision. I'm not going to pick that for him.
But saying it doesn't mean you can't go.
I don't think he loses if he goes. No, I don't think he does.
But you see what I'm saying? So there's not even and this is no disrespect or not to you.
Right.
But there's no, you couldn't even give a pinpoint answer.
No, that's my answer.
You couldn't say, but I'm saying you couldn't say.
I would prefer for him to go to an HBCU.
Yeah,
that's word. What I would prefer.
But that's what I mean. Like when it comes to aesthetics and it comes to the look and what's been concrete in this situation, moving from one level to the next.
But this is what I'm telling you with the difference. Now, my son is a freshman right now.
Correct.
Right? If more athletes do it before he's a senior in high school, that would probably persuade him to do it.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? If more people do it before he's a senior.
How do we get there? Because you can't even get there in your own house.
Well, I think nobody can get there until enough people do it. So when it's one person that does it and another athlete do it, now we talking about 3 years.
It's a hard. It
could happen.
It's a heavy lift.
It is. It's like 400 years of conditioning. That's the same thing.
So do we not encourage?
I'm not saying
them to do that.
We encourage racism to end, but does it end ever?
No, but that's not the same as this. This is something
It's
we can control.
absolutely the same.
No, it's not. This is something we can control.
You think we can control it,
We can
but
control
you
this.
can't because, like I said, us as human beings, we're aesthetics driven. Like we see things and we want to better our situation. So even if that means to not help the culture or help the cause, but to help my family, that's what we're gonna do.
Right.
We're not thinking like that because it's too much shit that's on our backs weighing heavy as hell.
But I
bro.
think that's and this is what
It's
I'm saying
good
with
to
that.
speak on it and talk about
That's
it, but
true.
when it boils down to it, it's gonna be hard, bro.
But that's not everybody. And let me say this, because I'm not. I'm make it clear. I'm not nowhere balling, period. I work every day. My wife
For
is
sure,
too.
yeah.
But we don't fit in the category of my son needs to go to the league for us to be okay.
Nah, it's not,
So
it's
that's
not
what I'm
about that.
saying.
But
But there's kids, family, with that mindset. They got single mothers. They in the hood. They fucked up, and that drives them. As I have to take care of my family. That's why they make those big decisions. My son don't got to make a decision for us.
what about
He just got to make a decision for him?
what school did Odell Beckham go to?
Went to
With the Louisiana State, LSU.
Yeah.
What
But
school
his mother and father,
were not starving?
no, they both were alumni of LSU. He was born on the campus of LSU.
So why not? I guess my point is it's not even always about just the starving family that's thirsty to get their talented player in.
But that's a
It could be a
difference.
family that's well off,
Yeah.
and they still will like overlook a black college
No, some
and go
will.
straight into.
But we're not being honest in terms
It
of
helps
black
that
colleges. We're not being honest in terms of black colleges. A lot of people turn away because black colleges are not the ones offering a lot of free rides, right? That's not a real thing.
They don't-
Very
yeah.
few people have ever gotten a full scholarship to go to a HBCU college. They're not in the business of that because the athletic programs aren't that big. They
Exactly.
can't do that.
And
right?
that brings us back to what we were talking about in the
But
first
again,
place.
I'm not knocking you. I'm not knocking you for what the world is.
Right.
What I'm saying is
Yeah.
we all sit back and we acknowledge things for what they are. I don't knock kids for trying to step up and make the difference. It takes one person to choose a HBCU if he's a top-ranked player, and other players will follow suit. In 3 years, that can happen. And if that does, that will change my son's perspective of going to a black college.
And I don't want to make this seem like I'm clouding your optimism.
I don't think
and I'm
so. I
being
don't think that.
a pessimist.
You're speaking
but,
obvious.
But what I am saying is that you came full circle. Their
It's
facilities aren't what it is,
It's
and
not.
that's so
not.
important.
Right.
They was
that's
just
so important.
rioting in Howard about the living conditions.
So I am
Well, not rioting.
dude,
They were down
shout
there
out to I Am
protesting.
Athlete podcast. Do y'all watch that?
Yeah,
I do.
So when Dion was on there,
That's the one I saw.
right?
And she made that argument.
And Channing,
Crowder, yeah.
Channing was saying the same shit I'm
Because
saying.
he went to Florida,
kinda.
and it was top
And
notch.
he was just basically
Don't compete.
he was a little more aggressive.
Yeah.
He was because
But-
he told her the truth. And I'm not
yeah.
mad at his truth. His truth is he went to Florida real quick. He went to Florida, top notch everything. They had
Yep.
professional chefs and Joe. When he told me they had chefs to get them healthy meals every damn day. The training facility was next level. That's what he was trying to get her to understand. Compare that to a Howard or a Grambling. It's not nowhere
Not the
near of the same level. And he's right.
They grooming athletes in these spots, man. It's just like when you go to California, man.
Mm-hmm.
They are grooming athletes. My nephew play out there now.
Mm-hmm.
If he stayed here, I don't know, and he killing it. Like he doing his thing on the court. I don't know if he'd be the same player if he stayed here. Because don't get me wrong, like raw talent is raw talent. But how you groom that talent is one thing. And even if somebody is not as talented as you, if you put them in a realm where they are just 24/7, whatever you need, this is what it's all about, this is what we doing.
Right.
You got gadgets and technology to help you perfect your craft, and you don't have that on this side gonna win, bro.
Well, you have it. You
the-
have it. You don't have the same quality of it. You have a training facility. You have a football field. You have trainers. You
Yeah.
have all of that.
So you know,
you
yeah.
don't have the same quality
You
compared
tell,
to a top
but
college.
tell that to tell that to a family and a 14, 15-year-old kid who is trying to go to the next level. If you make it look beautiful, and it's just like Rocky IV. You know what I'm saying? With the way Ivan was training and the way Rocky was training.
Right. Yeah.
This is the more appealing side over here, and that's what these colleges do to show like, all right, we're gonna crush the game on y'all. We're not gonna show y'all could have these little small facilities all you want, but we're gonna have chefs. You know, we're gonna have masseuses. We're gonna have chambers where you could, you know,
ESPN
do
did
everything.
ESPN did a whole. It was either last college football season or the one before that, but they had a whole college football segment. I think it was the year Clemson won the first national championship, but they did a whole segment on, now Clemson wins a national championship. They put millions of dollars into their athletic complex. They basically redo the whole thing, and it's damn near its own like self-sufficient campus. But like they got.
How do you change that structure unless you do this? Now we all say the most obvious cliche, but it's the only thing that drives it home for people. We know LeBron did not go to college. But if LeBron went to Howard University or Tennessee State University, are you telling me that ESPN wouldn't have followed his ass to a black college? Because they would have.
The key word in that phrase is if, though.
They would have. So this is my point. The next player that's the number one player in the country, if he decides he wants to go to a black college, the media will follow. ESPN will follow. The endorsements will follow.
Doubt.
The money will follow.
I think it'll take more than one, though. I think it'll take more than one.
It depends on the player.
It's going to have to be a wave.
LeBron only would have took one. So it depends on the player. Because LeBron only would have took one. ESPN would have premiered every single game at Tennessee State University if he played there. Period.
But that wouldn't change the wave, though. I don't think
that would change the wave.
It would change the wave because LeBron is just one person. You still had Melo. You still had everybody else on the other squads that are the appealing squad.
But even with Melo,
I know what you're saying.
They wasn't on the level of the coverage LeBron.
I know what you're
James
saying. I'm just saying it's a marathon, not a sprint. So don't look forward to if you see a top recruit go to a squad and shit really ain't changed right away. This shit has been fucked up like this for quite some time, and one miracle motherfucker that come on, that's what a discouraged motherfuckers. Like if somebody go there and we think, okay, this is gonna change the game right here, and it doesn't, that's even worse because now everybody behind him gonna be like, see, he did it and that shit didn't work, I'm gone. We gotta create the storyline that this is something that it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. Give it some time, let's let it build.
We don't have the time. That's what I'm saying. We don't have the time.
Exactly.
So I mean, we've been saying give this some time for over 30 years.
Exactly.
Like there's no more time. If nobody does it now, it doesn't change.
But plus you got the individual.
I totally agree with that.
So we ain't got more time.
The individualistic nature of people. So LeBron's the number one player in the nation. All right, he says, fuck it, I'm going to go to Howard, I'm going to go to Tennessee State.
Okay.
Number two player be like, all right, cool, I'm going to go to Duke because I know my chances of getting to the NBA, like LeBron's a unicorn, he's one-on-one.
We're assuming that.
For sure.
Right, but the next player going to be like, my chances of getting to the NBA are much better if I go to Duke and play under Coach K
I think we assume
if I go
that.
to Tennessee State.
I don't think that's fair. I think if LeBron said he's going there and Melo said, well, I'm going to go play with you there, I think that happens more than we give it credit for.
But
that's what it is. Because nobody has done it.
So how is it fair for us not to? That's a fair assumption that we're making.
No, in basketball, more than football. In basketball, players go where their friends are. They want to win with the best player.
Well, that's in the league.
Well, I'm just saying, in college basketball too, players in high school, you got players that was talking to each other, talking about what college we going to play together. The Michigan team, how they kept in contact with each other prior to going to college. They decided to go play together at Michigan. That's what basketball players do.
At Michigan.
So we're talking about, but this is what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
If that same group decided to go to a black college, they don't make decisions based on it. Football is different. Football is it's harder for football players it is than basketball players to make it in the league. So with basketball players, it's about the best team. If we could put the best players on the team and play, I think they'll do it. But somebody has to take the chance. You're right. You look at these other big schools, you look at what they got to offer, it's hard to appeal to people to give it a chance, but then we can't say that we're sick of it being the way it is until somebody does something different. Because unless we do, then it's going to be the same goddamn 6 teams every year, which is what we've seen forever.
Yeah, I just, we're
going to deal with the same thing all the time.
You know what? One of the biggest issues with being engulfed in inequality and shit that is just not balanced is that you start to look at it from a perspective, and this is also what divides us within our own culture. You start to look at it from a perspective where, well, I got to make sure that my circle is straight.
Right.
I got to make sure my circle is straight before anyone.
Yeah.
And we've had discussions like this when it comes to whether it's neighborhoods, whether it's schools, whether it's whatever it is. We know the fuckery that goes on out here.
Yeah, it's a fact.
We know it, and we are accustomed to it. We've dealt with it firsthand. So once you see that there is not, and then don't even get me started on the activism that you're talking about when it's been shot down or canceled or imprisoned and all that shit. Once we see that these attempts are just being bow and arrowed down, you start to have this mentality where I got to make sure my circle is okay. I got to make sure my son, my daughter, my mother, my sister, my nephew.
About the greater good.
I got to make sure that's cool first, and then, and that's exactly how they kill our spirit. So that's the reason why I'm saying that it's just going to be, we got to move on too, but it's just a hard fix when it comes to things like that. And I want them to get better, but I'm coming to the realization that it's hard to knock a brother that's talented that want to get down with an Alabama or Ohio State or it's all about aesthetics, and they know that's how the hook, line, and sinker us. And every human being want that. They want the finer things in life. Every human being wants that. So with that being said, I mean, like I do hope, and we digress because we was talking about Tony Humphrey and how he was just literally shitted on by a white assistant athletic director.
And he felt he could do that until the kid did something that other kids don't got the balls to do. He told him, I'll transfer from your goddamn school before I let you disrespect me.
Right.
Now,
And he's got scholarship offers too.
But there's a line of other kids.
Where you going though?
There's a line of other kids.
Did you see the scholarship offers?
I don't care. He made a decision.
This is a perfect example right here.
Tennessee State ain't on the list.
Yeah. He's literally been. He's witnessed racism firsthand, right? And he's still like, I want to look this up. Vince, help me out on this too, man. If we could find where, because I know he has a college he's going to. We'll come back to it, but it's not an HBCU. Like, for sure it's not.
All I'm saying is,
but you know what I mean? Like,
what he did,
committed to play ball at Boston College.
There you go.
What's the school? Wait a minute. What's the school he committed to?
Boston College,
which is not in the SWAC.
But what I'm saying is, and that don't have nothing to do with that. Just the fact that he was treated that way and walked away from it. It's the only thing that matters to me.
So it's
that matters to me.
It's just like, and then they did a walkout and everything, like for.
But it's been years.
But
players have dealt with that treatment, and they wouldn't do it.
That never happened. So.
And the guy and he had to leave the school. All I'm saying is, I get it. We all know the obvious, right? We know the powerful group of people. We know the powerful stay powerful, and the weak stay weak, until the weak stop wanting to be weak, right? We know that's the game plan. All I'm saying is what the lady asked in that show. Everybody's making compelling points. But when do we do something to change it? Somebody has to do something to change. Yeah, it's a long goddamn road to fix it. But if we keep talking ourselves out of starting the fight, then it ain't no fight. We're just gonna honor it.
Yeah, I hear that. It's just it's not about honoring it. It's just like you got so much shit, and we've all talked before. So let's not make this seem like it's just like we're out there just let's go at. We have families and we all know what's going on out here. You do as well, nigga.
I do, but if my son get a free ride to Howard,
let's keep it all the way
up. His ass about taking that ride to Howard.
Yeah, I mean it's a free ride.
But I'm saying,
if you got a free ride to Howard and Allen, we ain't gonna get back.
I'm gonna try to get this.
Let's move on.
That's the truth. Don't think that's. I want to move on. Don't think that's bullshit.
No,
if he has an offer from Howard University in Alabama, I'm pushing him to go to Howard University.
But it's his decision, right?
It's his decision to make.
Well, he's going to be a Bama.
I'm pushing. I hope he don't. Just like come to this goddamn table.
So let's talk. Let's move on, man. That was heavy, man. Let's move on to this Ahmaud Arbery case. Justice?
No.
Substitution justice.
Yeah.
Substitution justice.
Speak on that. Why is it not justice?
It's
man?
not. All right.
I'm just asking, man. Unpack your bag. Have a seat.
You're in a safe place, Spark. You can speak.
At the end of the day, that man.
Hey, wait. Before we get started on this, I think we need some edibles. Right? We had a good time.
Hey, do you say right? Like we all on the same page with the shit.
Right. By the way, Strange Fruit Premium Cannabis is on the deck. There's flour. There is. Plug, I gotta throw it out there, man. There's vape carts. There's edibles, candies, and we'll show them to you. Can one of you? I got my man C on Big Dog in the building. What's up? I'm sorry, King Chaz. I got King Chaz in the building, y'all. My God, if y'all see my bag, can y'all please bring it? So we got flour, obviously, different strains, vape pens, edibles. We have oils. My man Calico is in the building. His media is insane. Thank you, brother. This is who all making us look beautiful on the set as usual. We got Vince. You can go ahead and unwrap what you was unwrapping. I'll throw the edible in front of you while you're still unwrapping. Go ahead.
Okay. You're so kind.
I'm like,
I try to be.
Bro, I appreciate you. No, I'm like, look, I'm gonna keep it quick because I know y'all got y'all own opinions on the subject.
Take your time, brother.
Don't put that on us, Park. Speak your mind.
But like, my whole thing is like, on one hand, like everybody, when the decision came out, everybody was like, "Oh, justice has been served," and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, yeah, like my definition of justice is just skewed because to me, like, justice or the right thing is that brother would still be alive. His mom, his mom would still have her son, and so on and so forth. And I'm like, just to get to the point where we got. Not where but just to get to a point where his family got a conviction. The original DA suppressed the video evidence of this even happening and didn't even want to press charges against the people that murdered this man. It was only because another DA leaked the video to the press that this whole situation, garnered, move forward in the media and ultimately charges got filed. So had not a damn near act of God happened, we wouldn't have even known. It would have been his word versus the word of a dead person that can't speak to even tell what happened. So it's like, in order for us to get justice, like we got to move damn near heaven and earth and have a damn near act of God happen. For a black man to get justice in this country. But I don't think it's justice because at the end of the day, that man is still dead.
Well, if you look at it that way, you're absolutely right? And so that's how I look at things. But in terms of the justice system itself, if you look at it in terms of people being prosecuted for committing a crime, then you can look at it in terms of the justice was served in that aspect. But in terms of looking at it for the bigger picture, the fact that they killed the man, the police arrived on the scene, let everybody go home, you still know that there's a huge gap in terms of people who can get real justice.
Everybody go home.
Right? Everybody go home. We got a dead black man right here in my yard, but everybody go to the crib. We'll figure it out. You know what that is when that happens, right? The guy who videotaped it was a guy who basically closed them in so that he could get killed. He tried to play the role like he was the good Samaritan when it came down. Right. He tried to position himself as the good guy, and the other two was like, oh, no, hell no, you was with us. Mm-hmm. So his ass going to prison too. But this is my thing, and I said it the last podcast. I already knew that they were going to let the kid go, but they got to give us something. So they're going to give us these assholes. Because these to them are people that they don't care about. And this is what I'm trying to explain to my kids. I'm glad
you felt that way, bro, because I was this shit could go. We could be 0 for 2.
White privilege is real. White privilege is always real, but there's always a gap, right? There's a rich and there's a poor. And that's the most important gap out of everything. If you're white trash and they can hang you, they hang you. And they'll put you up there and let everybody celebrate your demise. But if you're a young white kid, you can't have them. And they make that clear to you every time you see it. Every time there's a mass shooting, every time somebody shoots in the theater, every time somebody goes in the church and kill people, they take those kids and get them something to eat and take them somewhere safely. They're not going to sacrifice their white children. But when it comes to the old rednecks that's doing silly shit, you can have them. So this was supposed to make us feel better. This was supposed to us say, hey, justice was served. They got the guys that killed that black man who would just walk, jog, and mind his own fucking business. But actually, right after they just showed you that a teenager can go somewhere with an automatic rifle, do what the fuck you want and go home. So it's not the same. It's not the same. They give you a little bit to make you feel like you're winning, but they really showing you the pattern of what you can't have. You can't have their youth. That's their future. They're terrified that they're going to be extinct as a race. You can't have our children. I don't care if they raped, they killed, because there's a white boy that raped somebody years ago and the judge let him off. Didn't want to destroy his life was his closing arguments. You can't have their children. You can't have them.
You know what? I feel like I just feel like the pandemic. Like when the way it caused everybody to sit their ass at the crib. Mm-hmm. And the way social inequality came to a head, mm-hmm. I feel like, all right, there has to be some sacrificial lamb so we can complete mm-hmm. this agenda that we're going to complete. Mm-hmm. Now, prior pandemic, who knows? All these motherfuckers would get off without. But now that the pandemic,
well, they were still gonna get off.
You know what I mean, though?
Right, they were still gonna get off.
But it's like, and just like you said, my homie King Chaz in the back, like intimidation factor. When they do things that they know are unorthodox mm-hmm. and are not equaling up to equality, mm-hmm. and they do it blatantly. And like basically post up and say, and what, y'all?
Yeah, and what you gonna do about it?
Bro, that's the scariest thing out here. Right? You feel me? Like when a mother can drive her son across state lines with an assault rifle that only the military should have access to, and he literally guns down 2 people and wounds one, and they let him go to the crib.
Right.
That's literally saying, and what? That's some gangster shit right there. Mm-hmm. That's them saying like, what's and what? What you gonna do, nigga?
Yeah, but that's the game they play.
You feel me?
But the laws are catered,
and they the biggest They the biggest gangsters, pimps on the planet. They try to label us as that, but they're the biggest ones.
But they show you
shit.
They show you how you're not in the same class. Like they broke it down. I watched it and they broke down the laws in terms of how it was legal for the kid to do that. So the kid didn't technically take a rifle there. He was given the rifle once he arrived.
So why isn't
now I'm gonna tell you
on trial?
Because the mother. This is why. This is what they do, and it's hilarious. The laws are set up for them, so they play the game. But if we play the same game, we lose. So the laws are set up where she could take her son down there. Why? Because it was a family-owned business, and he was there to help his family protect the business. That's the answer. That's legal. He didn't take a rifle across state lines. When he got there, the rifle was given to him by an authorized buyer. That's legal. Everything they did, they covered their ass to do what they did and get away with it. So my problem is...
So it was legal for him
everything
to have
he did was legal. And the fact that and it was. Like the minute that the person who tried to assault him had a gun on him, automatically that was legal for him to shoot that person. Everything he did legally was justified. The problem I have is with the rules don't apply to us. Because we got black women that shoot a gun in the air that's in prison.
How old do you need to be
it's not the same rules.
To carry a firearm?
You just need to be trained to carry. He is certified trained to carry a firearm. He's not old enough to buy it. So if he'd have took it across state lines, that's what they were trying to get him with, was the gun charge. When they threw the gun charge out, there wasn't nothing else they really could do. Because it's self-defense once somebody assaults you and they have a pistol on them.
You want to open them?
It's self-defense.
Man, he probably would have got arrested for smoking some cigarettes. You got to be...
It's different states,
man. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
This Wisconsin. You know Wisconsin, Joe.
Yeah, I know in like Maine, like you don't even need a fucking concealed carry. Justice is really not justice, basically.
It's their justice. It's set up for them. It's not set up for us.
And it's always just, when we feel like it, we'll appease you. And then we'll do what
We're going to give you these old rednecks.
We know what it is.
And make everybody feel better. They don't care nothing about them rednecks.
Yep.
They don't care nothing about them.
I agree. Yeah. Sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
We told you motherfuckers are already low on the totem pole, so keep in line, or these are the results for fucking with the niggers.
We'll give you something.
Moving on. Hey, let's move on to something a little more worthy and exciting, man. Who y'all got?
What we talking about?
3-6 Mafia or Bone Thugs and Harmony?
I got Bone all day. Stop.
You got
playing.
Bone all day?
All day. Stop.
3-6 got
I think I'm gonna have to go with 3-6.
Stop
you
it.
3-6? I just say that because 3-6 got like a lot. They got a lot of content, bro.
Sometimes you can have a lot of content, but if it ain't shit, it ain't shit. I know this. I'm gonna take y'all back. It was 1994. My sister was at Tennessee State University. I went down to visit her.
Picture it, Sicily.
And everybody down at Tennessee State, because that was like right around the time. Maybe it was 95 when Bone first album came out. And everybody in Tennessee, they hated Bone. And I was just getting on the Bone wave. So I'm down there playing the shit. And everybody on that campus was like, cut that shit off. We don't fuck with Bone. And I'm like, really, bro? Like it's starting to heat up, like for the love of money everywhere. Like you don't fuck with them.
That shit was insane, bro, when that shit.
It was
came
every trunk. Every trunk was for the love of money. I'm in Tennessee. They said we don't fuck with them. I say why? They said they stole 666 Mafia style. I said I don't even know who the fuck 666 Mafia is. They told me this in '95. We don't fuck with them because they took their style.
They had a beef though. Then they had a beef.
So I said, well, if that's the case, I don't like that shit. I don't respect nobody who takes somebody else's style and run with it. So I wanted to hear the music. I wanted to compare. So I heard. So this is the Tennessee people. Play me 666 Mafia, your favorite songs. They play me all the shit that he loved. And he in there going crazy. He loved this shit. I'm sitting there with the straight face. This how he was. I'm gonna show you how he was. He was. Look at me. He doing all that. I'm like this.
Didn't sound nothing like Bone either.
This was the most weirdo shit I ever heard in my life. This is 95 though. Let's put this in perspective. This is 95.
Right.
This is Nas. This is Ghostface. This is 95.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So he's playing me 666 Mafia, and I think I had just bought the new Tribe album when I went down there.
Right.
And I'm listening to this shit, and I'm like, bro, y'all get excited over the craziest kind of shit, but I could not see the comparison. I saw it like they rap kind of fast, but they didn't rap like Bone.
They rapped like the original Migos. Like
I didn't like that shit. But
Bone
down
was
south,
that was definitely a wrong assessment because I heard that same thing back in the day.
It wasn't the time for me to hear it.
The reason why, okay, so it's song for song, right? It's 20 songs a piece.
Well, they've got to pick the 20 hits.
Yeah.
So it'll be good. Now, from an impact standpoint, I'm going with Bone all day.
All day.
Just like how they impacted the game and that style that they bought out was insane. But when it comes to like 3-6 Mafia got a lot of fucking cuts,
They got a lot of hits.
They have
a lot of fucking songs. I just know
ass and titties.
I didn't see the comparison with that.
That was my joint right there.
I didn't see the comparison with that. Like they like in Tennessee, they wasn't playing about that. Like you couldn't play Bone there. Like they stole their style, and I compared it, and I was like, nah, I don't see that. See it.
Yeah. So
I did see it.
So I think if I'm not mistaken, it's on tonight.
It's on tonight.
It's tonight.
Yeah, it may be going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely gonna check that out. The versus battles have just been, they've grown to. I remember watching like one of the first ones. I think it was this nigga. It was Neo. And this mug named John. What was his name? Jonte Austin. I want to say something like that. But I didn't even know the man. I didn't even know who he was really.
I was gonna say.
And the man he was writing everything. He had Mariah Carey hits, Mary J. Blige, all types of stuff he was writing, bro. But that was during the pandemic, and he was in his crib, and now these mods is on in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
You got people on stage rocking it out. I think Snoop and DMX was like the first ones to really like
rock together,
perform, like put on a performance.
They performed every song. They didn't just play the song. They performed it. Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know who. So you said you got Bone all day, without a doubt.
My preference is Bone. Like when I hear Bone music,
and I ain't mad at you.
It take me back.
It's gonna be a good battle, I think.
I like Bone
more than expected. Vince, who you taking Bone too, right?
Nah, I think I'm gonna go.
You said you was gonna go with 3-6.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna check it out. I want to see the 20 songs.
And DJ,
I want to see the 20 songs. That make the difference.
But that ain't me shitting on Bone.
Nah,
you put that out there.
It's definitely gonna be a good. I just personally, like, I rocked with back in them days. Like you said, 95, 96,
you
97.
couldn't get me listen to that shit then.
Nigga, I'd be like, what? They better than who? Bone?
Man, you get that shit.
I used to be in school.
It's on
right now.
Yeah.
It's on right now. I used to be in school like fake rapping they lyrics because if you go fast enough, they'd be like, "Damn, bro."
I know you had a guy.
And Chaz could attest to this shit too. We'd be in homeroom. I'd be like, and they'd be like, "Damn, man."
But
I'm like, nah, I don't.
Who really studied every word? I knew a guy in high school. He knew every word they rapped.
And that's not possible because they didn't. Sometimes Bone was not saying words.
No, that's not true. They was always saying words. I thought that too. They was always said that, Joe, if you just look, I never did it. If you get a chance, go to an old song, go to YouTube and read the lyrics, Joe. They really wasn't just saying, they really was cold,
most of the words was there.
They had the words,
but
bro.
It's like when Michael Jackson would say like Chimone, that's not a word, nigga.
No, that's not a word.
Bone used to do that sometimes, like just recreate words
But y'all right, like 94, 95 when that first Bone,
different,
like, it was everywhere. And then I graduated in 96. I remember like I got to a certain point, I was like, if I hear Crossroads again, I'm gonna just walk.
Bro, they played Crossroads for 3 years.
Because it was just like everywhere, man.
For 3 years.
Juicy them came out with that slob on my knob.
See, I got to hear the song to even know what that song is, Chad.
See, when I hear you say that, because I know you back in the day.
Yeah.
Hip hop.
I was hip hop, Joe, but I fucked with Bone. I didn't consider Bone in the range of what I consider hip hop at that time. It was the music, dog. That For the Love of Money, Joe. If I didn't even like they raps.
But you gotta also think about Skilly at that time. That was the time that down south wasn't even popping. Really.
Yeah.
Right, that's true. That's a fact. They didn't get. Pac was still was Pac dead? Pac was still. He died in 95, right?
96.
And 90, so Pac was still alive in 95. So the South wasn't. Yeah. No, that's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
So that shit was new. Because I can remember bringing a lot of down south shit to Mel. And Mel like, what the fuck you
Yeah. We wasn't used to that down south sound. We wasn't used to it.
And what's the name too? The Ghetto Boys.
Yeah.
But they ain't had it. Like they ain't had that sound though.
Yeah, the ghetto. Scarface. He was my favorite. I can't remember.
That just. I've always, especially back then, bro. Like it just was like it
was the era.
But like back then, it was either this or it was this. There was no gray area.
No.
It's like tons of gray area now. Like
it's all gray
with
now.
this, and then they may be lyrically spitting, but they may flow it like a certain way. it's
standard
gray area
isn't the
all
same.
day now.
It's not the same kind of standard. But at that time, I'm thinking of all the albums that came out that year. You couldn't get me listening. That's Fuji's year, bro. That's Life After Death year. You know what I'm talking about? That's Machiavelli
you
year.
sitting next to somebody
Machiavelli
90, 96, 95?
Bro,
it was written. That's All Eyes on Me.
If you got to put that damn CD in, we'd fight you then. You finna take Nas out to put that shit in?
We got into so much nonsense just that summer. And the only 2 albums we was listening to was All Eyes on Me,
Period.
double CD, and it was written by none.
Period.
Shout out to my man Cal B, Liv, Big Roars. Hey, that's all we was doing, bro.
That's it.
Listening to them 2 joints, getting high, and rag, bro. Them 2 joints.
But
All Eyes
after the
on Me, and it was
South
written.
had they wave, I know it definitely changed, because I'm being honest. When I was talking to the people at Tennessee, they was saying all that shit, I laughed at them, because I'm like, bro, this shit is not gonna outsell Bone. So like, y'all tripping. I felt that way when they was talking that shit. Bro, I know y'all feel like they took the style. If they did, they own it.
Take the style.
Because these dudes don't sound like these dudes, right?
No.
And then when the South Wave came, they got huge nationally.
Your
Triple
boy
Six
was
Mafia.
on Drink Champs.
Which
Crazy
one?
Bone.
Oh,
You
Crazy
see it?
Bone?
Did you see it?
I didn't see that one.
Hey, Nori, shout out to
didn't see
Nori,
that.
man. Nori think he's slick. He always
I'm gonna
trying to
check
get a
that out.
motherfucker drunk as hell. Hey, Crazy was drunk as hell on there, bro.
That's how you get them to tell
he
it all.
just kept saying shots.
They'll tell
Crazy,
it all.
and Crazy wasn't backing down from it at all. This what I do, but towards the end, like he was sounding like your uncle on Central and goddamn it Madison. Just I did it, man. Yeah, he get them nice. So yeah, so I'm gonna go with Bone. I'm gonna go with Bone, man. Cause Bone.
I'm curious.
Like
what's the 20 song?
That's the thing.
Bone got Grammys, bro. Well,
Bone got Grammys.
6 Mafia do too.
Well, Triple Six Mafia got Oscars.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we can't do that game. But I would love to see the 20 songs that Bone picked. Because Triple Six Mafia could pick 20 songs out of any fucking way.
You know
they
what?
fans are loyal.
Ooh, that's crazy though. That's
20 songs?
That's what make it hard, bro. Ooh, that's gonna be a good battle. That's gonna be a good battle.
I gotta see it.
Sipping on some
I did
Sipping on
forget
some
about
scissor. Okay, they do sipping on some scissor. I'm gonna give you
What?
Thuggish Ruggish Bone.
You could do that. You could do that. I was really waiting to hear what you was gonna say.
I'ma
But you
give
could
him
do that.
Thuggish
You could do
Ruggish
that.
Bone, bro.
That's an anthem. You could do that. But 20 songs by Bone is hard.
All right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Because that war
And they
double
got
album.
that's
It
what
wasn't
they
that.
cater to, like the big hits. So you got to go from Creeping on the Come Up and East 1999.
But they got a double album. And I'm sure they're gonna pick some songs. I know it wasn't that to
Some
us.
songs on there,
They got Pac on there.
but they got the
Honestly though, y'all. Honestly.
They got Pac on there.
After East 99.
Yeah, that was it.
That was it.
That's it.
yeah.
That's
For
a
sure.
fact.
For sure.
That's it.
That was it.
You say that most of their fucking number 1 hits was on East 99.
Well, and the first one's like an EP because it was only 6 songs, 5 or 6 songs.
Yeah, like Creeping on the Come Up. You talking about Creeping on the Come Up?
Well, it was more than that on that album, but that's fair.
Mainstream, I'm talking.
That's fair. That's the mainstream when the Thuggish Ruggish Bone took off for them, but that's fair.
2 of them.
But the second
Thuggish
East
Ruggish
99,
Bone.
that's the album.
From the back, you can pay it.
That's the album.
Yes.
And every radio station was playing at least more than 3 singles.
Several.
Yep.
Several songs.
They played the East 1999. We know they
Crossroads.
playing first of the month.
Yeah, first of the month, Crossroads. Crossroads won a Grammy.
But you got shit like Mo Murder, all types
There's some
of stuff
songs on
there.
that, Joe, that's just cold.
But then you
period.
got like the joint with Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
You know? You
I
got
forget
the
about
joint.
They could do
you
that.
got Shoot 'Em Up with
But they got the joint with Big. You can't forget
Big
about the joint with
and
Big.
with Pac.
They got Big and Pac.
They got Big and Pac on lock, so that's like 6 joints.
That ain't
right
20.
There. Yeah.
That ain't 20. I think they're gonna have I think Triple Six Mafia got 20 songs and they sleep.
Yes.
Bone has to really construct a
20.
perfect 20 songs.
Bone got nice hits, but 26 got 20 bangers.
And that's the difference. Because that's what it's about. You want the 20 hits.
20 consistent bangers, bro.
That's going to be interesting.
I heard something from Bone tonight that you probably never heard.
It's definitely going to be something I'm going to hear and be like, why they play that shit? Because they have to. Because they need 20 songs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is why
That's
I'm
different.
46.
Yeah. That's legit.
Yeah, you know what?
That's legit.
The way y'all are like, this is what we do this for.
Right,
The way
right,
y'all done
right.
figured this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably go with
Yeah.
362, man.
You about 362? Because you know they're going to use it. It's in the pocket. Hustle and flow.
Yeah, what they
you
won
gotta
the
Yeah.
Oscar for.
You
man.
got to use what you
Shit.
win an Oscar for.
You know what I'm saying? So
You got to.
and they did that whole album. It's like
And then that and what's the other? So you got Sipping on Scissor and what? I gotta Stay Fly.
Stay fly.
That shit crazy. Yeah, they got a lot of. And then if you just want to go like literally you could literally just go into Juicy J portfolio, bro, without even 3-6 Mafia.
Well, you can.
included.
Because he included, so you can use his music too. You don't
That's
have to just.
crazy.
Never make a dance.
Was that his or Lil Wayne joint? Oh, that's so what? That's
I wonder
crazy.
if you can, though. I think you can.
Yeah,
He part of the
they
group
do
that
that.
can do that.
There's plenty of people on
But
Versus
see,
Battle that
this
just did
the
that.
thing with Versus that I get, right? Because I would get excited. The first one I saw was Premier and RZA. That's the first one I even wanted to see.
Damn.
And I saw,
Yeah,
no, the
it
first one I
became a
saw,
long way from
no,
there.
that's not true. First one I saw was Just Blaze and Swiss Beats when they was in the studio. That was the first one. I saw that. I love that.
I thought the first one was Swiss Beats and Timbaland.
That's the first one they called Versus, but the first one when they did like the DJ battle,
Oh,
it
okay,
was Just
okay.
Blaze and
And
Swiss
Tim- and
Beats.
Swiss.
And then that's when Timbaland was like, "I take you on," because Swiss Beats he beat Just Blaze, he cleaned him up. So he's like,
Did
"I
he?
take you." He did clean him up, but he DJ'd better. Just Blaze was doing the old '80s where he kept repeating the same beginning of the song.
So they wasn't playing the joints they produced.
Swiss was. But Just Blaze kept on doing the DJ part. He like, Joe, just play the songs. You got hits, play the songs.
Right.
He playing DJ. Swiss Beats playing hits.
Hits,
right.
And he killed him. So Timbaland was like, I know how to play you. I get you. And that's when that kicked
And
off.
then they created this
But
shit.
I loved what they do with it. But I learned it's about the songs they pick. Because
Yeah.
being honest, I'm a big Locks fan, but there's no way Locks got more hits than Dipset. Not period. They don't have more hits. They don't have more hits. The Locks barely was even on the goddamn radio, bro.
Nah, that's not true.
Forgot about that.
Bro, the Locks was barely on the goddamn radio, bro. Locks was underground
but that
favorites.
showed y'all that they got them hits.
But they came out there
I
and
do agree. Like
outperformed
at
them.
the beginning of that versus battle, Dipset started off very slow, was playing bullshit, and then they
because
picked
they
it
was
up.
cocky.
But by that time, the
was too
Locks
late.
had already,
They already wrapped you up.
Murder,
Taking that
Death,
shit
Kill.
serious.
They performed.
Man, let's go
better.
ahead and finish this, fellas. We about to get out of here, man. Have we done everything we needed to do today, y'all? There you go, Vince.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Well, hold on. We ain't talked about baby girl. We got to talk about baby girl, Ari.
yes.
We got to talk about
We
baby.
we definitely gotta talk about
That's some weird shit at a very. I never thought that would happen in that location.
in Amsterdam.
In Amsterdam, that's the
Is
one
she
place.
still locked up right now?
No, she
she out
tweeted.
yet?
She tweeted. She was like,
She said
I'm
she
safe.
just want to go
safe.
home. Okay,
Yeah, she
all right,
tweeted that.
okay,
because I know they
Yeah.
held her and wouldn't let her do nothing.
bro.
But I was gonna say, don't be surprised, man. Amsterdam full of white people. Like,
Yeah.
Well, you
But
can't get high
we
in
just talking.
Hey,
But that
hey.
ain't why they arrested her. They was like she was being irate and just loud.
So it wasn't
and
drugs. It was just they had some.
the
dialogue
exact
with her.
story, right? Let's pull. I'm gonna pull up the exact story. So the incident was at the airport.
Okay.
By the Dutch military police. Let's get rid of that. So they said she was being held for aggressive behavior towards an airline official and for being drunk in public.
In Amsterdam.
There's
people walking around on shrooms
right.
right now in Amsterdam.
Bro, you can't get high.
In the street, that's the
I get that.
Go into the car.
Cafes or the right.
But does that
she was drunk though. They said she was
could
drunk.
drink on
They
the
didn't
street?
say she was high.
No, you cannot get intoxicated on the street.
In Amsterdam, you can't be intoxicated on the street of Amsterdam.
I don't believe so. I
God
think that's
damn
why
it,
they
it's
had
crazy.
a coffee. Like
But
you were saying,
this
I
is
think
in the
that's why they-
airport.
yeah.
This in the airport. This is not on the street.
But what's the key word?
She was detained at the Schiphol Airport.
Okay.
Or Schiphol Airport, excuse me, but I don't know. That's some Amsterdam shit right there. So they detained her at the airport,
Right.
Because they said she was being aggressive,
Right.
and she was drunk in public.
Right.
So you can't be drunk in public, apparently, or you can't be black and drunk in public.
I think when I hear aggressive, see, there's certain words that stand out to me.
R.I.P.
Right, it's some dog whistles
Here we
in there.
go
Yeah.
again.
Aggressive behavior,
Hey.
right? So that to me, with certain things that people say that you can't even fight it because it's like on the surface it just sounds bad. But the context matters. So when you say she had aggressive behavior, if you're bothering her or she think you're harassing her,
Right, what is
that's aggressive behavior.
Exactly.
Or, if you are not aligned with our culture,
Right.
So I got one of my sisters. I love her. She married to my brother. She's a police officer.
Okay.
And she tells me how the white officers just don't understand.
Right.
So like when you come and try to clear an incident out and we just hyped up and getting it cracking, nigga, this is not any this will cause you no harm.
Right.
Let me handle it. Let me talk. You know what I mean? If I'm loud like, yeah, man,
Right. They immediately are threatened by that.
Now
Right.
I'm being now I'm like a threat to you.
Right.
No, I'm just explaining my side of the story, but I'm upset.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna put hands on you or nothing. But if you're not accustomed to the culture,
Exactly.
then yeah, absolutely, you gonna write being aggressive and all this shit. Because if Stan come up here and say, you know what, this is some bullshit. I'm calling my father now.
Yeah.
He's just angry. He's not aggressive.
He's just angry.
just frustrated.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If nigga, this some bullshit. I'm about to call such and such. I'm aggressive
You're a
and
threat.
I'm about to steal you and all that.
You're a
you know
threat
what I
at that
mean?
point
So
to them.
it's just it's just the perspective of them, how they view us. And that's what happened with Ari Lennox, I think, right here, man.
It's something about the combination.
I just looked at her too. What's crazy is
She was just at the award show.
Yeah.
She just performed at the BET
performed
with the Soul Train.
It was BET.
Was that
she,
BET? I
She
thought that was Soul
performed
Train.
with what's her name, man? Big Dog. We was just talking about her. Jasmine Sullivan.
Jasmine Sullivan.
She performed
Okay.
with Jasmine Sullivan, and the song is beautiful. But yeah, it was funny because I was just, matter of fact, Chaz, I was just talking to you about it like 2 days ago. And yeah, it's crazy.
Something about black people with money and celebrity that white cops don't like. Now, I don't know if that's a coincidence, but it's something about it.
Right.
It's just all horrible, bro.
When we feel like when we got confidence and we walk with that,
it's definitely the bread too, though.
they want to shut
let's
that confidence
put it out
down.
there.
They don't want you to be
Yeah,
that
it's-
confident walking through like you run shit. It's something about
Well, there's a
that
level
nature.
of confidence with us anyway. And because we are human beings, right? You put something behind me that's going to lift me up in it, whatever this is outside, I dominate most of it if I got more bread than everybody outside.
Exactly.
When I walk out them doors, if I have more money than 90% of this community, I dominate. It just is what it is. So if I walk out this door and I don't have more money than 90% because I am African American, there's just a certain swag I have anyway.
Right.
So they don't like that, first of all.
Yeah, what the fuck
But then
you so
second of
confident
all, they don't like the fact that if you going outside and you got that, if you sitting on that stack of money,
Right.
now you can make decisions to ruin certain things out here that's fucking you up.
Right.
So they will try to like knock you off that pedestal quick.
Absolutely.
So that's just the thing as far as her, like we it's beautiful to travel outside of the country and get it and do all these things and perform and just have a ball. But you still gotta be aware that you have melanin in your skin.
Absolutely.
Now how crazy is that, man?
It's crazy, man.
All around the world, you gotta be aware you got melanin in your skin.
Yeah.
Except Africa. And not South Africa though. Not South Africa.
You gotta be clear.
Not South Africa.
Right.
You gotta be clear.
But I just feel like we do a lot for this country in particular, and we are purposely shitting on because there is a lack of equality.
Yeah.
And it's been like this for so many centuries
It's not by accident.
that the system that's been placed in front of us is absolutely correct to them. This is how we keep saying the system is broken, and we touched on this years ago.
Yeah.
The system is not broken for them.
It's
No,
working
right.
It's
So,
working
this how
exactly
it's
the way they
designed.
intended.
So with
to.
that being said, it's almost it's very depleting. So I'll give you an example. I gave one of my coworkers when I used to work at this establishment. So he used to say, I don't understand, like, if we could work together and you look at your position, like we're equal right now. And so I gave him an example about what privilege is, and I had to break it down to this minuscule type of scenario with both of us going to Target, right?
Right.
I say, you leave your house, kiss the kids, kiss the wife, you go to Target. I leave my house, kiss the kids, kiss the wife, I go to Target.
Right.
Now we pulling up, but before that, we going to different stores, right?
Okay.
You go into Dollar Tree, get what you need to. I attempt to go into Dollar General. There's a sniper on the roof. Boo, 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 shooting, you know what I mean? So now I'm ducking, dodging. I missed that. I go into the Dollar General, get what I need, come out. The next store, you go into Family Dollar, get what you need to do. I try to go into Jewel, same thing. Somebody sniping off the roof. Now I'm ducking, I'm behind my car, I dodge that. I go into the store, finally get what I need to do. Right. Now we both end up at Target at the same time. You just had a nice path of success getting your stuff. Me, who done been fucked up, like trying to move around and get where I need to go. So we both end up at Target. We both need the exact same item. There's only one item left in Target, right? You get out your car, casually walk. Now, nigga, what just happened to me the last few times I went to the store, I get out my car and now it's gonna take me a minute because now I'm defensive. Right? I'm defensive, so I can't even start walking like you. By the time I realize ain't shit going on and I could just make my move into Target, you done got the item. Now you back at the crib on your way home. Now I ain't even get the item because from the previous events, I was fucked up. I had some ordeals. It was bad. So now when I'm getting out my car to get the item at Target, I'm leery. Right. And that's what white privilege is. The shit that you don't have to worry about that we have to worry about.
But gives them more of a sense of a peace than we have.
And that allows them to get straight to the bag right away. Right? It allows them to get straight to the bag right away.
Also, even with the discussion you were having with your coworker, right? That whole idea of like, well, why can't we work together? Like at this point in my life, I'm like, why do we have to work together to fix a problem that we did not create? Like racism, this is a hill I will die on. Racism, prejudice, the whole thing. This structure isn't something that people of color created.
Right.
So it's not something that people of color need to fix. And
we can't fix it.
We can't fix it. So this whole idea of, well, we need to come together and, you know, if we just unite and this, that, and the other. Yeah, it's sweet and it's nice in you know, theory and all this stuff, but we didn't the black people in this situation, in this we equation, we don't need to fix this. So
exactly.
Stop putting the we in this, and how about y'all fix it?
And here's the message.
Yeah.
The white people that are willing to fix it, you're privileged. Mm-hmm. First of all, you have to realize that. In order for you to want to try to fix this, you have to realize that you're privileged and you can move around in this country differently than we can, even if it's as simple as profiling.
Like all right.
If it's as simple as profiling. So that being said, also, even when they realize that there is white people that's trying to vouch for black people,
it is something.
What do? I let Cal Rittenhouse off.
Right.
I let him go to the crib.
Because you was standing up for
and
people
he done killed.
Yeah.
And he done killed white people.
Yeah.
All right, guys, y'all understand what this is, so figure that out.
Exactly.
And that's what we're faced with. They, by any means necessary, they will make sure that they stay winning. Yeah. And we stay losing. So that's the reason why. That brings me back to what we was talking about too. Like with it's just It almost boils down to, let's try. The first thing I need to do is defend my family before I even, try to be this activist. Because we know what happened to all the major black activists out there. And
we know what happened to anybody who stand up for black people. Even if you white, they'll kill you and won't care. If you ride with us, you get fed to the wolves. It don't matter what culture you in. If you stand beside us, you can die too. They made that crystal clear. So I get that, but I also understand this. And me coming from that generation, my grandma trying to get me to understand, I was a little naive, young. I get it now. When she would always come to me about the protests and what they did with King and all of this, and I say, Grandma, I respect that. I say, but my generation, we not protesters because we don't think that really got us anywhere. We're more direct. We know that marching didn't get a lot done, so we take a more aggressive approach. And my grandmother was like, I hear you, but you're wrong in saying we didn't get anything done. And I didn't understand it then, but I understand it now. If people don't die, for us to have the right to vote, we don't have the right to vote. Now, you got people who say the voting don't matter anyway. They don't believe in voting any goddamn way. And teach his own. You have your opinion. But people died. White people died. Black people died for that cause. Somebody had to make that call to do it. Now, they died for it. So when we start saying, well, who's willing to die? It's not the same as it was in the 60s and 70s when the Panthers was dying all the time and they kept recruiting people. They still wasn't afraid to join the Panthers, even though they knew they would be targeted. We don't have those kind of people in this generation, so I'm not expecting that. But what I'm saying is, if someone doesn't make the sacrifice, we don't get those things. So when we say, yeah, y'all did all that marching, y'all did all that screaming, but Selma changed everything when white people had a first eye view of seeing white people get their head cracked on the bridge too. Like, it was like, oh, wait a minute, that's not just bullshit, that really happened. George Floyd, in my opinion, was our generation version of Selma. This was COVID, this was white people who thought we was exaggerating, and for the first time they watched the police officer put his neck on a man and kill him on national TV, and they were shocked. You'd be surprised how many white people I know that was like, I can't believe he did that with a camera on him. And we like, sweetheart, this is my whole life. This is what I'm used to. Like, got them in third grade when they had a camera on somebody doing the shit. But this was their first time seeing it to acknowledge it. And after that, white people went more crazy about the shit than we did, right? It was like, it was an eye-opening thing for them to see it.
They had time.
They were just like, oh, we're not gonna allow this. All the videos, like of the white kids cussing their parents out. Hey,
watching TV a lot.
God.
The minute they office opened back up, they threw them motherfucking picket signs
right in the trash.
It's always gonna
throw
be
that in the garbage. We're done with that.
But this
and now and then we're gonna get back to white couples building a GoFundMe page for the killers of Ahmaud Arbery.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
No. Listen,
they took it down though. They took it down.
My son got me optimistic. My son has me optimistic. You know, he's 19 years old. He's been fighting this fight.
These created a GoFundMe page.
I just think that
on Monday to raise money for the legal cause for Brian's appeal.
They're gonna always do that.
So
they're gonna always do that. They're gonna always be those who don't want things to change. But what I realize in my life and experience, everybody's not in the same box. There are people from different cultures that really do more for the fight than some of our people do themselves. There are people who really give a shit and they do something. It will never be satisfactory to us because they have a lot to make up for. Okay? They have a lot to make up for. But there are people in this younger generation, I met when I go visit my son in school, the group of people, the stuff that they do, the kind of activists that they are, like the kind of anger that they have, like it's almost funny to watch.
And
but
you know,
I don't think this generation is going to be like the old.
It's the sad thing is they don't have a choice unless laws change.
Yeah.
Like realistically, like they could be as big as an activist that they want and vouch for black people as much as they want to. Yeah. But if these laws don't change, if these officials in office that's been sitting here for 30, 40 years stay in office and they could literally just like tag somebody in to sit in their seat once they done, none of that will matter at all.
Exactly.
By the way, just to keep it a buck with you guys, man, this is crazy. My man CO just texted me this.
What?
The Grizzlies
73 points.
They beat
by
the
73
Thunder
points.
150-77. This without Ja Morant too, by the way.
Beaten by 73 points.
Bro,
did you see this, bro?
When you get your ass kicked like that, that's not even a speech. You don't even have a speech in the locker room after that. You can shower up and you take your ass home. It ain't nothing to talk about. I don't want nobody in the locker room trying to rah-rah and trying to talk crazy. That's the game. You go ahead, shower up, and just take your ass home.
Burn the tape.
We want to forget all about this.
We're going to forget this happened.
We're not going to even talk about this shit.
But let me hit y'all with one, and I know we got to go, but I'm going to hit
Cocaine
y'all. Let me hit y'all with
okay.
one last story that I read about this week, and maybe y'all heard about it, but it was a story out of Syracuse, New York. This brother, Anthony Broadwater.
Okay.
Spent 16 years in prison.
Yes.
Convicted of rape.
Yes.
For a rape conviction in 1982.
Yes.
I ain't heard about this story. Is he black? He's black?
Black.
Yes,
the lady who was raped is an author, Alice Sebold. She wrote a book about it called Lucky.
But the movie adaptation was Lonely Bones.
But the movie adaptation was Lonely Bones.
Yeah,
like that was a popular movie. Okay,
so
that was the adaptation of her
So they're
book.
making a movie about it, right? So a guy who was a producer on the movie, he's looking at the script and he's like, wait a second. What I'm seeing in the script is totally different than what's in the book.
Right.
And so he's like, something's not right. So this man ends up hiring a private investigator, hires a defense lawyer, finds out that this man was spent 16 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit.
Yeah.
And tried to get his conviction overturned 5 different times and was shot down each time. You know, he had to register in New York. He had to register as a sex offender. Fucked up his relationship with his family members. Yeah. The man admitted he was like, he got married, but he's like, I didn't have kids because I didn't want my kids to deal with the stigma of having a father as a registered sex offender, right? So long story short, because of this process, the 6th time he went before the courts to get his conviction overturned, it got overturned. Now the thing that's the kicker, this lady issues him an apology, and it's like, I'm sorry for what the justice system did to you.
Nah.
The only reason, let me not say that. One of the main reasons he got convicted of rape in the first place was because she was walking on the street in New York City, saw him and said, he looks like the person who raped me.
Yeah.
Oh, kind of like the Central Park Five.
Yeah.
She just pointed out somebody.
Just pointed him out and said, he looked like he's the one that did it. Mm-hmm. And that started the whole thing.
Now, this one thing, because Parks has basically laid it out. The one thing he didn't mention in this that bothered me was when they were saying the accounts that she gave to the police original, none of it was consistent. She didn't know.
She didn't know who did it.
Who did it.
Right.
But all of a sudden, she just points to this man and say, no, he did it. After you repeatedly, now you know, with the police, when they start going through investigation, if you made it clear you don't know, you can't just point somebody out after that. Right. Now we don't trust that because you didn't have conviction and point nobody out earlier. But of course, because it was a black man who at the time was a Marine.
It was home.
So it's not like he's no homeless drug addict. He's a Marine. He's legitimate. Mm-hmm. She just pointed him out, and it was still just enough to lock him up. Now, my problem with that overall is obviously what the obvious is to it. The fact that they can just do that is what it is. 16 years of his life, he'll never get back. Everything's legit. But my problem is it's still the same right now in terms of rape culture, in terms of colleges and athletes. And not just that, but that's a big part of it. If a white girl points to you and say, you did it, that's your life. With nothing else but her saying that. Mm-hmm. And it still carries that kind of weight. I watched that today, Parks, by accident. Mm-hmm. I watched it because they all seen him in the courtroom when they announced it. And the prosecution defended him in the case.
Right.
Sure.
Like he came over and apologized and was telling the judge that, no, he didn't do this crime. So it wasn't like the prosecution was doing his job to prove something. He even admitted this was done wrong. This man need to be let free. But the thing that hurt me was, I'm looking at this man with this gray hair now. I'm looking at this man that's old now. He done missed out on so much of his life. And this white woman who's an acclaimed author, best-selling author, she's living her best life. And it's no big deal. It's no big deal. Hey, I made a mistake, but I made millions off of my book lying about what happened.
Not even that I made a mistake, but that I recognize that the inequalities of the justice system,
right,
and that these inequalities were perpetuated. Right. It wasn't me. I'm not speaking on my role in all of this. I'm saying that the justice system as a whole did you wrong, even though it was my identification of you that basically helped seal your fate.
It's so many of them.
It's bullshit.
There's so many. They fighting on what?
Fighting on stage, balling at the 360.
Hey,
bullshit.
I can't wait till I get home now. Because if I get to see them square off in the verses, that's my kind of verses.
Purple.
I thought that was gonna happen with the Locks and Dipset.
No, they
was on the same page.
Yeah, they was on the same page.
But I didn't know that when I was watching it. When he pulled his shoe off, I was like, "Oh, they finna get down for this." Mm-hmm. Nah.
All right, black man.
All right.
I think we good, man.
Yeah.
We toasted up good enough. Yeah. This is the sick. You looking at it too? We
on stage.
We done got engulfed with this fight situation on versus, y'all. This is the 606 Whateva podcast, man. We'll holler at y'all another time. Two of them.
Yep.